Will need to be based on reality, not borrowed luxury, I said. Pi clients. Blake started. We'll need to trust actual returns, not inflated promises. Madison just clutched her phone, watching her fake lifestyle dissolve one post at a time. You have two choices, I continued. Sign the payment agreements, accepting your actual financial situation, or face collection proceedings on all properties and vehicles involved. You can't do this. Blake protested weakly. Actually, I smiled, as your property owner, creditor, and parking enforcement authority, I can, and I am. The reunion downstairs was still in full swing, former classmates unaware that 3 of their most successful alumni were watching their facades crumble in my office. By the way, I added, your Honda comment earlier, that was my backup car. My actual vehicle is the Bentley in the private garage, the one you've been admiring all evening. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success, it's watching people realize that their pretense of success has been built on property you actually own. The aftermath of that reunion night reshaped more than just their financial situations. It transformed the entire dynamic of our graduating class. Word spread quickly through social media, though not in the way Jessica, Blake, and Madison had always imagined they'd go viral. Local property mogul reveals identity at high school reunion became the headline they couldn't control. Their carefully curated social media profiles couldn't compete with the reality of their repossessed luxury vehicles and exposed financial facades. A month later, I sat in my private office reviewing their payment arrangement progress. Jessica's marketing agency had been downsized to a small office in one of my secondary properties, the only space she could actually afford. Her new business cards read Social Media Associate rather than CEO. Your latest rent payment cleared, I informed her during our mandatory monthly review, though I noticed you're still trying to pass off stock photos as your luxury client portfolio. She shifted uncomfortably in her chair. No longer designer label, but department store practical, old habits, she mumbled. Blake's investment firm had reassigned him to their compliance department after his financial misrepresentations came to light. His replica Rolex had been replaced by a simple Timex. Your parking fees are current, I noted during his review, though security mentioned, you're now carpooling to work. Quite a change from the BMW days. Public transport is educational, he admitted, unable to meet my eyes. Madison had moved out of her defaulted condo into a modest apartment in one of my residential buildings. Her beach house photos had been replaced by honest posts about financial rebuilding. Your mortgage restructuring plan is proceeding well, I told her. And I appreciate the social media honesty about living within one's means. Turns out authenticity gets more genuine engagement than fake luxury, she said quietly. The real surprise came during the property management company's annual gala. As owner, I was giving the keynote speech about authentic success in real estate. In the general admissions section sat several familiar faces from the reunion, their expressions far more attentive than during our high school classes. Success isn't about where you park your car, I told the audience, enjoying the ironic twitch from Blake. It's about building something real from the ground up. Sometimes literally. My phone buzzed with an alert. Another luxury vehicle had just been towed from one of my properties, this one belonging to our former class president, who'd spent reunion night bragging about his non-existent real estate empire. Should we prepare another payment arrangement meeting? My assistant asked. Schedule it for tomorrow, I replied, watching the tow truck through our security feeds. And pull up their social media history. Let's see what other facades need restructuring. Because sometimes the best lesson in property management is learning that true ownership isn't about appearances. It's about building something genuine, one parking space at a time. In the end, they finally understood that while they'd been posting about success, I'd been quietly building it. And unlike their luxury car payments, that was something that would never be declined. My mortgage company, send it straight to voicemail, she muttered, flipping her phone face down. Probably just some spam. I glanced at the clock, 8:55 p.m. In 5 minutes, the illusion of their perfect lives would start to unravel, beginning with their beloved cars. Right on cue, the hotel's PA system crackled to life. Attention guests, Due to multiple payment irregularities, all vehicles in the valet area are being towed by order of the property owner. Please see security to arrange payment and retrieval. The ballroom erupted into chaos. Jessica's champagne glass slipped from her hand. Blake's polished banker composure faltered. Madison's beach house slideshow was abandoned as they all rushed to the windows, watching tow trucks, my company's trucks, line up outside. This is ridiculous. Jessica shouted at the front desk. Do you even know who I am? Yes, Ms. Martinez, the manager replied smoothly, following my script to the letter. Our records show 3 declined valet cards and an outstanding bar tab. The owner takes payment compliance very seriously. Get me the owner, now. Blake demanded, his fake Rolex catching the chandelier light. I'm an investment banker. I'll sue this place. Certainly, sir, the manager said with a polite smile. The owner is on site. Security will escort you to the executive office. Through the cameras, I watched them approach the private elevator, Jessica striving to keep her influencer pose, Blake fussing with his tie for a confrontation, Madison frantically trying to delete her beach house posts before her mortgage troubles went public. Send them up, I typed to security. Let's see if they remember the parking attendant they used to ridicule. The elevator doors opened. They froze when they stepped into my office and saw me behind the desk. Welcome to my hotel, I said, smiling. Shall we discuss your outstanding payments? Their expressions were priceless, the culmination of every humiliating parking ticket they had ever thrown my way in high school. This has to be a joke, Jessica stammered, her carefully curated Instagram-ready pose crumbling as she noticed the wall of property development awards behind me, all bearing my name. You were a parking attendant, she spat. I managed parking, I corrected. Now I manage properties, this hotel, the valet structure, and, conveniently, the building where your luxury marketing agency has repeatedly missed rent payments. Blake's banker mask started to crack as he stared at the massive real estate portfolio on the screens, RA Holdings, market valuation and assets, worth far more than his entire firm. I pulled up his lease agreement for emphasis. And speaking of exaggeration, I said, how's that final warning for misrepresenting investment returns coming along? Madison slumped into a chair, panicked, staring at her phone. My beach house photos. They'd been flagged by my property management AI for using stolen luxury listings, I said, displaying her social media analytics. The mortgage default notices on your actual condo, however, are very real. The screens filled with their digital missteps, declined cards, bounced checks, and every attempt to maintain appearances in a world where I controlled the strings. Your vehicles are now being towed to our secure facility, I continued casually. Release fees are significant, but we do offer payment plans, though your current credit scores may complicate things. This is harassment. Jessica shouted, her social media persona kicking in. My followers will hear about this. Your followers? I smiled, pulling up her client list. The ones bought through that bot farm operating out of my server facility. Those followers. Blake tried diplomacy. Rachel, surely we can work something out. My firm handles major real estate investments. Your firm rents a small office in one of my buildings, I corrected him. 3 months behind on utilities. Want me to show you the notices? Madison remained glued to her phone, watching her online image collapse as her beach house photos were exposed as fraudulent. Here's how this will work, I said, sliding 3 folders across my desk. Inside are real payment plans for your obligations. Based on actual income, not the one you pretend to have. But my image, Jessica whispered, her voice breaking. We'll need to base these on reality, not on borrowed luxury, I said firmly. Real client returns, Blake began hesitantly. We'll have to rely on actual numbers, not inflated promises. Madison just gripped her phone, watching her fabricated lifestyle collapse, one post at a time. You have 2 options, I continued. Sign these payment agreements, acknowledging your true financial situation, or face full collection proceedings on all properties and vehicles under your name. You can't do this. Blake protested, his voice losing confidence. Actually, I said with a calm smile, as the property owner, creditor, and authority over parking enforcement, I can, and I am. Downstairs, the reunion raged on. Their former classmates laughed and mingled, oblivious to the fact that 3 of the school's so-called most successful alumni were in my office, watching their facades crumble. Oh, and that comment about the Honda earlier? I added. That's my backup car. My real ride is the Bentley in the private garage, the one you've been admiring all night. Sometimes revenge isn't just success, it's letting people realize that their own pretense was built on assets they don't even own. That night changed more than just their bank accounts. It reshaped the entire hierarchy of our graduating class. Word spread online, though not the way Jessica, Blake, and Madison had imagined. Headlines read, "Local property mogul reveals true identity at high school reunion." Their carefully curated social media feeds couldn't compete with the reality of repossessed luxury vehicles and exposed financial pretenses. A month later, I sat in my office reviewing their progress with the payment arrangements. Jessica's marketing agency had been downsized to a modest space in one of my secondary properties, the only office she could actually afford. Her new business cards read Social Media Associate instead of CEO. "Your latest rent payment cleared," I noted during our mandatory review, "though I see you're still using stock photos to inflate your client portfolio." "Old habits die hard, department store chic instead of designer," she muttered, shifting uncomfortably. Blake's investment firm had reassigned him to the compliance department after his financial misrepresentations came to light. His flashy Rolex was replaced by a plain Timex. "Your parking fees are up to date," I reminded him. Security added, "and you've started carpooling." Quite a downgrade from the BMW days. "Public transit has its lessons," he admitted, unable to meet my gaze. Madison had relocated from her defaulted condo to a modest apartment in one of my residential buildings. Her previous beach house posts were replaced by honest updates about living within her means. "Your mortgage restructuring is progressing," I told her. "And I appreciate your candid social media posts about financial reality." "Turns out authenticity gets more engagement than fake luxury," she said quietly. The real kicker came during my property management company's annual gala. As the owner, I delivered the keynote about genuine success in real estate. In the audience sat several familiar faces from the reunion, their attention far sharper than it had been in high school. "True success isn't measured by the car you park," I told them, enjoying the twitch of recognition from Blake. "It's about building something tangible from the ground up." Sometimes literally. My phone buzzed. Another luxury car had just been towed from one of my properties, this one belonging to the former class president, who had spent reunion night boasting about a fictional real estate empire. "Should we schedule another payment review?" my assistant asked. "Tomorrow," I said, watching the tow truck through the security cameras. "And pull their social media histories. Let's see what other facades need correcting." Because the best lessons in property management aren't about appearances, they're about true ownership, one parking space at a time. In the end, they finally realized, while they were busy posting images of success, I had been quietly building it. And unlike their luxury car payments, my wealth would never be declined.